And today we're here talking about one of our services we don't share a lot, and one of the groups, because we're kind of like bought in to run a group for another organisation, aren't we?
Yeah.
But we're super passionate about it, and that is our Parkinson's Family Singers group. So we wanted to kind of just share with you what we do, why we're so passionate about it, pick her brains about all her knowledge and expertise in this. And just spread the word if you know anybody that you think it might be of benefit to. So first of all, when does your Parkinson's Family Singers take place, Becky?
So it happens term times, and it's on Monday afternoons between 1:30 and 2:30.
And where's it at?
So it's at North Park Pavilion in Kettering. So it's not too bad to get to, and there's plenty of people who offer lifts or things like that. It's such a supportive group as well.
Yeah, and if people were interested in going to something like this, once we've told them what it is, they don't get in touch with us for it, do they?
No. I think to begin with, though, for this, get in contact with us, and we can either pass your details on to someone else.
Yeah.
But it is run by Parkinson's UK, the Kettering branch area. So it would be through them that you would contact.
Yeah, so what happens? I had the privilege of, last summer we did our summer showcase like we always do, and the Parkinson's Family Singers came and performed, and it was a really magical moment. It was lovely because they came and performed along with all of our other BHVA clients, I suppose, and students that were there. So it was really lovely to really pull them into the BHVA world and give them a platform. And what was really wonderful to see was just the sense of pride that every single one of them took in being part of that choir, and the community that they had there, the connections between people, all the family members that were coming to support, because there are so many stories around the different people that go and the families and the impact that Parkinson's is having on those families. And, you know, they sang some really difficult songs. And I was sitting there going, Becky, is this really what they, you think, oh my God, a lot of people would go, oh, we'll go for the easier stuff. But they sang some really difficult songs. And it was so good. It was so good. So, we just wanted to share a little bit what it's about. So we hear about singing all the time being really good for you. So we're not here as therapists. We're not here as clinicians. We're not here as the doctors and that, but we have got evidence-based research from a creative point of view that points at the benefits of taking part in singing. Now, Becky has the privilege to see it every single week at the Parkinson's family group that she runs. I see it when I see them perform and talk to people. So what is it then, Becky, that makes singing such an amazing thing for bringing people together under the umbrella of Parkinson's? And why singing that tool that really helps them?
There's a whole host of different things that can happen with this. So you've got the community aspects and that social cohesion, because bringing people together and singing creates this community group anyway. You're singing together, you're working as a team. It helps things like your endorphin levels and things like that. So it helps with building up that happiness, that self-esteem, because it's just of the natural, what's the word?
Hormone, just being with people, isn't it?
But the singing and the different hormones that it releases when you're singing as well. Added to that, people with diseases like Parkinson's or dementia, things will start dying down in their brains. Things will stop working, and neural processes will stop working. Things like singing will use different neural pathways to speaking. So there's a couple of singers there who cannot talk, but they can still sing. So it's a little bit almost like an aphasia choir. So someone who may have had a stroke suffers with aphasia, can't speak. So you can have aphasia choirs as well, which gives people that opportunity to still use their voice and be heard.
And I think the bit that I find really empowering is in your group you've obviously got not just people who are living their own journey about Parkinson's, it's their partners and their family members with them as well. So they're getting to hear their partner's sound again, their voice again, which for so many of them it's gone. And you wouldn't think of that. You think if they've lost the ability to speak, well, no, they can't sing. And you go, actually, it's this moment of no pressure, just pure connection of just hearing the sound of somebody's voice that they thought they'd lost, and to have that connection back. it's really quite special,
it's
isn't it?
very special, and it's just seeing the joys on their faces. So we don't introduce lots of new songs because it's not necessarily there for learning and building on that, but it's bringing songs that they'll know. So we've got loads of old classics that we do together where it's...
I was going to say about that, because you were just saying as different neural pathways kind of collapse and different things aren't working and connecting properly, and when you're talking in particular about dementia and Parkinson's, sometimes that kind of old memories are what are really at the forefront. So do you kind of pull on that through the music choices to kind of create that familiarity for them, so they can kind of
it's brilliant. And you know what, the ones that they enjoy the most is actually all the stuff I love.
Good old classics.
It is, but it's things like the Rodgers and Hammerstein. So it's not popular, it's not the pop stuff and not the 60s, but we're going back to like the old stage musicals, or kind of like the Hippopotamus song.
Even things they did as a child in school, which
completely. And there is one that we do. And we finish every week. So it's a song called Cherry Ripe.
Yep.
And I never heard of this song before I went there. They introduced it to me.
Oh, I love that.
And it's a song that they sing and they love to sing. And it is an old hymn that most of them have sung at primary school in their lives. And it's one that we tend to finish off each session with.
And it's one that they don't have to think about.
Yes.
Because it's an old memory. It's something that comes naturally to them, so they can pitch in and out where they can.
Very much.
So, what would you say then are the main? What have you seen as the main benefits for the people who have actually got Parkinson's in that singing group?
So they're able to focus on something that they can do. So there are people at different stages with the disease. Some who have only just been diagnosed. There are people who are a lot further on. Some of them will fall asleep in the session because their brains have then had enough after half an hour or so. Other sessions they'll be more alert, so you go with what's going on. But what you see with people who are a little bit further advanced with Parkinson's is you still see them joining in or listening or just bopping their heads if they're struggling to then use their voice or move their jaw and their lips and their articulators. To people who have just been diagnosed, who are doing it so because it gets them out, it gets them moving. We do movement exercises to start off with. It's not just about voice, and they've got other groups within the branch as well.
And do you do like breathing exercises as well that then are going to help? Does that
so, no, I don't touch the breathing.
Okay.
Just because different people are at different places in a grouped position like that, I'm not 100% sure of what's going on. But with the warm-ups that you do for singing, there'll be breathing, breathwork going on through that anyway, so it'll be sound, it won't be specific to breath.
But actually, they'll be getting a benefit without realising or thinking it's an exercise to improve something that they then find difficult.
Exactly.
So it's kind of still...
Because you can start off with short phrases and build them up and make them longer and longer. Or you can do tongue twisters to help their articulation, and you start them slow and build them up so they end up laughing because it all goes completely wrong. But it keeps that fun in there.
But it's that power of music in a space, isn't it? And coming together in the community of music and just the feeling and all of that. And there's been a lot in the news recently about the investment in music therapy in hospitals, particularly in children's hospitals. And we're not talking about they have got a therapeutic element to it, but just engaging and participating, whether it's playing, singing, exploring, whether it's on an iPad or whatever, but just the benefit of music and then where else it can go. So yeah, Parkinson's Family Singers Group is very much first about bringing people together.
It is, and that sense of community, because when you have got the family members coming along as well, for them it's that support group as well.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of light relief for them. They get to go out and enjoy something that they can do as well, and they're doing it with their partner or their family member, but they're actually being able to have some fun as well, because the seriousness of what they're doing as carers is actually really, really tough.
Yeah, really tough. And it's hard to see somebody changing that has been so close to you for so long, and just seeing that change in them and things that they can't do. And a lot of the other things which are amazing to do with supporting Parkinson's are quite physical activities as well, which can be very draining, and then that carer is still very much in a capacity of supporting the other person to engage as well. So to just be able to sit, touch, hold hands, rest on each other, hear some sound, hear the voice of the person that you love with you,
and laughs.
and laugh.
And laugh.
There was
Because we do a lot of laughing.
There was the concert last year, there was something, and it was they were concentrating so hard this one song, and at the end they all just laughed because they were so relieved they got through it, because it was a really, really, really tricky song.
I'm just putting it out there. They asked for that song,
not
me.
but they found, they were like, no, we're going to do it. And then there's that humour in that element of it as well, and that space to just come together and fill a room with sound.
Yeah, and because there aren't any expectations of it being perfect, it's about just being in the moment and trying out new things and seeing how you can push yourself, and if you can, how far. I mean, they sing in Russian.
Yeah,
I mean, this is ridiculous. Yeah. We've got a piece that's in Russian. Again, it wasn't one that I brought, it was already as part of their rep, but they hadn't done it for a few years. I was like, let's bring it out, let's see.
Yeah, and do you find because they're in a group rather than on their own, they flourish more? Because within that space, when you've got a choir singing, different people can take the load at different times, can't they?
Very much. And there's this
people...
whole process of what's called entrainment when you're working with groups and voices, because entrainment, I saw a video the other day, actually, science-based, this one, and not to do with voices. Yeah. It was to do with, well, it's still music, because they put loads of metronomes onto a table that could move, and you sort of set them all off at different times, and this thing called entrainment brings them all together, so they're moving at exactly the same time. And they bring together in sync. Yeah. But this is what happens in choir, and there's tons of evidence and research out there showing how entrainment works. So to have that, so people who might be struggling with something, this idea of entrainment actually helps bring it all together. It's not just peer-to-peer learning, it's this whole being with other people and bodies syncing up together and voices syncing up. It's quite special.
It is very special. And so I think that's why we wanted to come and talk about it, because it's something we don't talk about that much, because it's something we do quite privately on the side. You go out and you're kind of contracted into Parkinson's UK to go deliver that service for them. But it is amazing, it is special, and we talk all the time about the power of the arts and what it can do, and singing is more than this, and for these people it really is about finding their voice in a new way, a different way that they didn't think they could, with people in a different way. So we wanted to share a bit of real life about just how incredible it is, and equally to share and spread the news about it. If you know anybody that is in this situation, or family members that are thinking about doing this, can I just add, is it always people who are suffering with Parkinson's, or can it just be people who are associated with somebody if they wanted to come and sing as well themselves?
Yes, so we've got some family members who come there and their other halves aren't able to come anymore because of how far along they are with the disease. But they still come along because it gives them that community aspect and that being of that time. So it isn't just people who are having to live with that Parkinson's themselves, it can be other family members. And
just being in that space and that shared knowledge of everybody in the room is going through the same thing in their own way, and so it doesn't need talking about, it can be spoke about, but you're just all in a space with people that understand first, and that shared understanding.
Exactly. And there's check-ins if you want to have a check-in, people will, because they've been through it, and you'll have people there who've lost their relatives or family members to it, so they've been through the whole process, and there's always a check-in going on between people. It's lovely to see.
So yeah, the power of singing, the power of voice, the power of coming together and community is something which both of us are really privileged to be part of every single day, really, in some way, shape or form. But Monday afternoons are Becky's joy.
Definitely.
They are definitely her joy, so we thought we'd come and give a little insight into Becky's joyful Monday afternoons, because it is a very special group that she's part of. So yeah, if you want to know any more or find out how to get in touch, just give us a message, drop us an email, anything, and we'll direct you to where you need to go. So yeah, till next time, bye.